friends, it's Sarah, and I want to welcome you to the Wild Pickle Press channel for children. You'll notice that we are in a completely different place today, and I'll tell you about it in just a minute. But first, let's sing our welcome song. Here we go. Welcome friends, let's learn something new. From nature, art and poetry, songs and stories too. We'll cook up something oh so tasty, maybe share some tea. You're invited to imagine, feel, and wonder with me. And you are, as always. So today, I want to welcome you to something very special. Today we are doing tiny kitchen cooking. So welcome to the tiny kitchen. This is my tiny kitchen where I love to do tiny things, tiny baking and tiny cooking. But first, let me put on my tiny apron. It's good to have an apron on before you bake or cook. That way, if you have messy hands or anything spills, something catches it before it gets on your clothes. Are you guys ready? Because we are going to make some delicious oatmeal chocolate chip cookies. Let's go. First, I need my handy dandy table in front of me where I can have my handy dandy tray. So here's how it's gonna go. I need a bowl, I need a spoon, I need a measuring cup, and also some measuring spoons. You can cook along with me, or you can watch and then do it a little bit later if you want. Here's my bowl. Here's another one just in case I need one. My measuring cup, I'm going to need a 1/4 cup, and that's what this one is, and my measuring spoons, my trusty measuring spoons. Let's see. We're also going to need some milk. We need some flour, some sugar, some salt, some baking powder, a few other things. So let me get those. Let's see. Here's our flour. We'll just get that ready. And in fact, we're gonna go ahead and get a 1/4 cup of that flour. Now, when you scoop out flour, it's important that you don't get a huge heaping of it, because that's no longer a 1/4 cup of flour. So here's an easy way to get that off. You can use the bottom of a fork or something like that, and you simply, here, let me set this here. You simply scrape it off where it's nice and flat. Woohoo! And if it doesn't make a little mess, you're not doing it completely right. Because it's okay to make a little bit of a mess in the kitchen. So there is our 1/4 cup of flour. I'm just gonna put that in the bowl, which already has a little bit of flour around it, and that's okay. Now we need a 1/4 cup of oats. That's the oatmeal part. Here are my oats, my handy dandy oats, and we're gonna do the same thing with the oats. You don't want it to be overflowing, so you can even use your finger if you need to just gently scrape it off, as long as your fingers are nice and clean. You always want to wash your hands before you begin cooking, which I did right before we started actually. So my hands are already nice and clean. That's pretty level. Add it to the bowl. Now, we'll put that aside. We don't need that right now. I do need sugar though. It does need to be sweetened up a little bit. You can use a little less than this or a little more if you like a very, very sweet cookie. I like mine somewhere in between. So we're going to take our tablespoon, which is the largest of the measuring spoons, and we're going to measure out, again, make it nice and level so it's not a heaping tablespoon. And we're going to do 2 of those. 2 tablespoons, nice and level, of sugar. I like to use a nice raw organic sugar, but you can use any sugar that you like. So we'll put that aside now. Where is our baking powder? Baking powder. What does baking powder do? Baking powder is actually part of what makes things rise, and it makes them fluffier. So we definitely need some baking powder because we do need our cookies to rise just a little bit. We need a 1/4 teaspoon usually the smallest one on there, but you can check your measuring spoons just in case. We definitely need to have this nice and level. Unfortunately, most of the baking powder containers have a little leveler right there, so you can make it nice and flat already. Very convenient. There's our baking powder. We'll put that back. We need a pinch of salt. What does a pinch of salt mean? Well, it really is a pinch. You just pinch a little bit with 2 of your fingers and drop it on in. There's our pinch of salt. We'll put that aside. Now we need, let's see, what else do we need? Oh, we need either coconut oil or butter, or if you use something else, that's fine. I have used both. In this case, I'm gonna use some coconut oil because I just happen to like the taste of that in the cookies. We are going to measure out. Well, we need quite a bit of this. We need about an 1/8 cup. So really, an 1/8 cup is half of this 1/4 cup. So I could reach on in here. This isn't going to be exact, but it'll be close. I'm gonna start filling up my 1/4 cup until it looks like it's about halfway full. I think it's almost there. We'll try that. You can always add a little bit more if you feel like you need to. There we go. Now, we'll put that aside, and we'll put our coconut oil aside too, just for now. We need some milk. Now, it's completely up to you what type of milk you want to use too. You can use regular cow's milk if you want to do that. You can also use something else if you don't tolerate cow's milk very well. You can use an almond milk, a cashew milk, a rice milk. Rice milk actually works quite well. Go into the refrigerator, and we are going to measure out about 3 tablespoons of milk. So here we go. Let's do this. I'm gonna pour it in there. There's 1 and 2 and 3. And we'll put our milk. Well, there's a little bit left. We better put that back in the refrigerator. We don't want that to spoil. All right. Now it's time to start the stirring. The wonderful thing about this recipe is that it doesn't take egg. So there's nothing to worry about with a raw egg. So we mix that up. It doesn't take long at all. Just mix it until everything is nice and together. You'll see it happens so quickly. These are really the quickest cookies you'll probably ever make. They're so delicious and so easy. All right, that's all done. Well, if we're going to have chocolate chip oatmeal cookies, then I'm pretty sure we need the chocolate chips. So we'll grab those, and I want you to put in, well, you could put in whatever you want. I like to put in a nice heaping tablespoon of chocolate chips. I'm just gonna put those in my hand because I know that that is about a tablespoon right there. And if we have some extra, then that's okay too. So, all right, now let's stir that up, get the chocolate chips in there, and they're ready to go into the oven. So what I did before we actually began was I went ahead and preheated my oven over here to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and your parents can help with that. When we need a pan, I also have a little piece of parchment paper. The parchment paper helps the cookies not to stick. And I really love using parchment paper, so we're gonna use that today. So here's my pan, here are my cookies, and you can do this however you like. Sometimes I just like to take a big heaping of it, and I just put it right on the parchment paper, just like that. I don't make it fancy, I don't shape it, I don't flatten it. It's kind of like a big, it's called a drop cookie really, because you're taking a spoonful of it and you are dropping it onto the pan. So I'm going to finish those out, and then we're going to put them in the oven. All right, friends, our cookies are ready to go into the oven. So in they go. And I'm gonna set my handy dandy timer to about 15 minutes. Now, just to wait. The cookies are ready to take out, friends, but first, we don't want to burn our hands. So we need an oven mitt, or your parents or grandparents, whoever's helping you, should use one of these so your hands stay safe. So let's very carefully get them out of the oven. Now, an oven is really hot when you open it. The air is very warm, so be careful. Oh, they smell so good and look so good. I'm gonna carefully get these out. There they are. I can't wait. I'm gonna put them over here just to cool for a moment, and then I'm gonna get a spatula because the cookies are still gonna be way too hot for me to hold with my hands. This is my spatula, and I'm gonna put them on this lovely plate today. And I'm just going to scoop these out. And because we use the parchment paper, it's not sticking at all, which is lovely. And there we are. I want to thank you, friends, for coming and baking with me today. Now, if you would like the recipe for this and you didn't catch it during the visit, you could just go to my website, wildpicklepress.com. Go to the top of the page, click on more, click on recipes, and it's right there. Now, we used a regular flour that has gluten for this recipe, but if you go to the recipes on my website, there is a gluten-free and dairy-free recipe for some chocolate cookies, and they're so good. So check that out in case you missed it during this visit. But I hope that you baked along with me, and if you didn't, I hope you'll bake these for yourself or maybe for your family, maybe before you have some tea time or read a book or something like that. I'm gonna set these aside just for now because they still need to cool. I can't wait to eat them, but they're hot. So before we go, friends, I want you to please say out loud, I am brave. I am strong. I am kind. I am smart. And I love who I am. And I hope you do love who you are, friend. As always, because you're one of a kind. There is no one in the world, no one like you. And that is amazing. Thank you so much again, friends, for baking with me today in the tiny kitchen. I hope you'll come back soon. Bye, friends.